I'm just going to say it. Morphling is the best carry in pubs right now. He scales the best. His damage is absolutely disgusting. He feels very unkillable. This hero just kills everything on his screen. He's the perfect solo leveling 1v9, doesn't care what your team does hero in the game right now to climb. I went from basically not knowing how to play him recently to now solo carry 1v9ing 8k ranked games. And now having Morphling as an option for me to play has increased my power level as a carry player. If you don't have Morphling in your hero pool right now, and you're a carry, you are hurting yourself because he's good against pretty much all the carries that are meta right now. And if you're not playing him and you're picking the other meta carries, the enemy team's just going to pick it and you're going to be hard countered and you're not going to have fun. And some games you last pick him and it's literally just a free win if you don't ruin the game. The hardest part about Morph is definitely getting comfortable with his attribute shifts. It'll take some time. I recommend setting them on hotkeys that are really comfortable for you. You also need to be comfortable living on the edge, right? Like playing on super low HP and be confident shifting when you need to, including like shifting down to 1 HP in the lane and then shifting back up to heal. And like I said, it's going to take some time to learn this, but I believe in you. It's worth it. This hero is so rewarding. His lane is pretty strong. He's just super, super weak level 1, but you should be able to bypass this at your MMR by just spamming defensive aggro until you level up. And then from there, you should win most of your lanes. And he plays the map in the early and mid game very similar to a lifestealer, right? Because you are very, very hard to gank because of strength morph. So you just want to control your safe lane and farm the camps around it and defend your tower. And part of the reason that you need to do this is because one of his biggest weaknesses as a hero is that he is slow movement speed wise. So he's not really a flash farmer. And because of that, he needs his safe lane. So you need to be a robust laner to play this hero. Your laning mechanics need to be in tip-top shape. And he has pretty low range, so he's not like poking people down. He's winning the lane by getting denies, by just CSing better than the opponents. On this hero, if you lose lane really hard, there really is no plan B. But that's okay, because again, he has the tools to do well in lane consistently. Very high damage, very, very, very hard to kill. So you stay in your safe lane area, you extract the resources, golden XP out of that section of the map. And then once there's potential major kill threat on you, so maybe, I don't know, enemy storm gets an orchid and you don't have your manta, you want to TP to the other side of the map because you can no longer defend your tower because you're just going to die. And ideally, this somewhat aligns with your manta timing because you can just manta out the dangerous waves on the other side of the map. And it's harder for them to gank you when you're playing, in the enemy jungle versus your own safe lane. His main timing in the game is going to be Vlad's manta butterfly. And you should go these 3 items in that order in pretty much 99% of games. Then usually BKB after. Now I want to talk about how to team fight on him. So first thing is you need to think of who you're going to morph into in advance. So I could just tell you who you want to morph into, but I feel like you'll learn better if I, would walk you through this little exercise. Let's think about more of his weaknesses as a hero. He has no stuns, right? And he has to commit in the fight with waveform because he's very low range. To kind of counteract for those weaknesses, the best morphs are going to have mobility because he's not hard committing. Then if he has a waveform plus another mobility spell, he can get in and get out, and a stun so he can hit people. So like Wind Ranger is one of the best morphs because you morph into her and you can just shackle somebody and then you can, like kill them in 1 second. And then you can wind run in and out of the fight. Weaver is also really good. He doesn't have a stun, but Bugs is really good because it lowers their armor and Morphling just has overwhelming physical damage. And then Sakuchi is super good. Mobility. Queen of Pain is solid. There's like Earthshaker. He has a lot of stuns. There are a lot of cool ones. Oh, Magnus. Magnus is a really good shout. That might be the best morph in the game because you can waveform skewer people back like into your team, which is really good, and people aren't expecting it. But there's a lot of cool creative things you can do. Just try not to meme it up too hard and try to keep it, impactful with your morphs. And the way that you do that is you just identify who you're going to morph into before the team fight actually starts. So it's a very clear decision for you. The pressure doesn't affect you because you've already made the decision. And you don't just morph into the first hero you see, right? You wait till you get the good morph. This game, honestly, I didn't have great morphs. Clock is probably the best early game because it's a stun. Pudge is okay in certain situations, but honestly, it's just more of a meme. Slark is aight, but it's definitely not ideal. Like, Pounce is technically a disable and a mobility spell, but it's just pretty weak without the Aghanims upgrade. But okay, so the best way I can describe how to fight on Morphling, well, there are two things. So one is don't go first, because he hates when all 5 enemies hit him at once, which is typically what happens when you go first, because he doesn't like to strength morph a lot in the fight because it takes a lot of time to morph up and down. The second important idea to team fighting is to be explosive. So I use that word explosive because you need a powerful entry to the fight. Like, usually you win the fight in a few seconds because you bring overwhelming damage, and you generally have to commit in. So your entry to the fight has to be very strong. So the good fights always look something like this. The fight starts, and then I waveform onto like some shaker, and then I morph into him during the waveform, and I fissure totem him, and I kill him. Or you're just bringing damage onto somebody who your team is stunning. But either way, things are happening powerfully, right? Explosively, quickly. And the enemies have no idea what happened, right? They're like, oh, how is Shaker dead? Like, what just happened? They're panicking like some grenade went off or something. I just really like that word explosive to describe this idea. And he also wants to win the fight in his morph duration because he's just more powerful during it. He also fights pretty well early if you had a decent lane, right? But because his movement speed is so bad, it's usually just like defensive TPs or TPs close to fights. When your morph is up, and then getting a good morph and killing 1 to 2 heroes with it just to accelerate you to your timing. And speaking of accelerating, if you want to accelerate your MMR gain, I do coaching, and my students usually do really well. And not to glaze myself, but I've been doing coaching for a while now, and I feel like I've improved a lot as a coach. So I know like what you need to hear that's really going to make things click with your gameplay. So the link for that is going to be in the description if you're interested. And also remember to like, comment, and sub if you enjoyed this video. It means a lot to me.